Now, there's a little tiff going on between my buddy Sean Hannity and Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska. Now, I endorsed Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska, and of course, as you know, he won. Not because of my endorsement. I was one of many. He was the conservative, I thought, who was running. Ben Sasse not only voted to allow the Iran deal process, the process to take place, that is the Corker-Cardin process, which eviscerates Article 2, Section 2, Clause 2 of the Constitution, the treaty clause. Ben Sasse voted for that because he was part of the gaggle, part of the sheeple, part of the group think with Corker and Cardin and McConnell and all the rest of them. But he was vociferously in support of it. How do I know? Because the man called me on the phone to try and convince me that I was wrong, that this was a good process. It's the best they could do because, Obama would never submit this as a treaty to the Senate anyway. And I tried to explain to the man, you have your own role as a senator in the United States Senate under our Constitution. Again, Article 2, Section 2, Clause 2. And the Senate can treat it as a treaty as it should, whether the president presents it or not. The Senate doesn't have to act at the behest of the president. It can act on its own if a president seeks to circumvent the Senate and violate the Constitution and eviscerate the treaty clause. But Sasse was not convinced. And by the time we were done, I told him, don't ever call me again. Don't ever call me again. And he hasn't, thank God. And he hasn't. But Sasse and Corker and the vast majority of Republicans in the Senate who voted for this, even conservatives, they ensured that this Iran deal, whatever the Iran deal would be, whatever Obama had in mind would pass. Because rather than requiring two-thirds of the senators present to ratify a treaty, it was turned on its head. It was treated as a law. Therefore, the Republicans in the Senate ensured that the Democrats could use the filibuster rule to protect whatever deal that Obama came up with, because in the Corker process, the Senate and the House would have to vote to oppose the Obama deal, not to ratify it. And the senators, the Democrats, did in fact threaten to use the filibuster rule, and the Republicans only had, and could gobble together with a few Democrats, 58 votes. So they knew that they could not stop the Obama-Iran Corker-Cardin deal. And even if they had had the 60 votes to overcome the filibuster rule, Obama would have vetoed their opposition, and they would have needed 67 votes. So they ensured, Mr. Sasse ensured, and the others who voted for this process, that this deal or any deal that Obama came up with would go through. Now back to this little tiff between Hannity and Mr. Sasse. I spoke to Sean about this. He said, I don't support pulling anybody's license. I never have and I never would, let alone a president doing it. I'm just making the point that the media are out of control, and he said more, but that's enough. Sasse, of course, jumps on Hannity because Hannity is very critical of Sasse. Says, I'm the one who defends the Constitution, not you. Well, Mr. Sasse, you don't defend the Constitution, as I posted on my Facebook and Twitter sites this morning. When it comes to the treaty clause, you eviscerated it. And now precedent has been set for future rogue, radical presidents to say, I'm not going to submit this deal to the Senate for ratification. Look what happened with the Iran deal. They didn't have to do it, so I'm not going to do it. So who's damaged the Constitution more? As a matter of fact and action, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump, who hasn't done anything to affect the Constitution other than voice an opinion, which I disagree with, or Mr. Sasse, who actually voted, along with a whole host of Republicans, and Democrats, of course, to circumvent the treaty clause of the Constitution. I just want to straighten that out.